But then if you're talking about, like historic is also coming into account, which is why they justify Salzburg coming in. How the hell have Atletico Madrid got in ahead of Barcelona?
Yes, yes, yes.
Like in
The,
any metric you want to use, it makes no sense. Yes, guys, welcome to Over the Line, the football debate show by fans for fans. My name is Davo, as you should know. Joining me on the show today, we have Nigel. Nigel, welcome back, buddy. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? It's good to be
I'm all
back.
right, man. I'm all right, man. That's a little bit cheesy at the start there, but I'm keeping it, man. I'm keeping it.
Okay, go.
Right, so on the show today, it's going to be all Club World Cup. We're going to talk about the final. We're going to talk about the fallout from the final, comments that Infantino has made. We're going to do that today, Nige. How's that sound to you?
Sounds great. Let's
All right,
go.
wicked. So there's only one place to start naturally, and it's with these guys, the final. So Chelsea, annoyingly, I have to say, won, beating PSG 3-0 in the final. Now, Nige, part of me wants to blame you for this, okay? Because I made the prediction that PSG was going to win this. Before the tournament started, they were my pick. On our show last week, I made that same pick. But you had to go and put into the universe that if any club can do it, it's Chelsea. And we are sat here today with Chelsea as world champions. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
Nige, give me your thoughts on the final, bud. How did that sort of play out for you? And were you
But
shocked by the result?
before I do that, you have to remember they're not just world champions now. They'll be world champions for the next 4 years.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, their fans online are already doing my nutting.
Ah, that's a victory of victories. That was in regards to the game. I'm sure, like everyone else, I was completely blown away, shocked, surprised. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. They
Yeah,
literally PSG.
yeah.
um, they
They did to them what PSG did to Inter in the Champions
yeah,
League final.
I know, but for me, this was worse. Um, they absolutely tore them a new one over and over and over again. They found a weakness through Mendes at the left back, and they just kept charging through.
Yeah.
The thing that Enrique has to really look in the mirror and say, "Is there anything more I could have done to
Mm.
block that gap?" He just left. He just left them to all they fully attacked the. Gusto looked like Ronaldinho at one stage. Like
Yeah.
it was ridiculous what I was witnessing. So I'm disappointed in Enrique for that. But all credit to Chelsea. It was a fantastic performance and one that they can truly be proud of.
Yeah, all credit to him. Like, I've got some stats in front of me here. So Chelsea had 10 shots to PSG's 8. They had 5 on target. PSG had 6 on target. In terms of possession, it was in PSG's favour, 67 to
Really?
33. Yeah, PSG completing 601 passes to Chelsea's 301. But what mattered was putting that ball in that onion bag, and Chelsea did that 3 times. 2 goals from Cole Palmer, one from João Pedro, all in the first half, and they just absolutely coasted. Now, what that means in terms of uh, individual player stats, Enzo Fernandez finished as the tournament's top assist with 3 assists, but we had a four-way tie at the top for top goal scorer. And if I just pull up that information right now, you can see that the top goal scorers were Gonzalo Garcia of Real Madrid with 4 goals, Marcos Leonardo of Al Hilal with 4 goals, Serhu Guirassy of Borussia Dortmund with 4 goals, and Angel Di Maria of Benfica also with 4 goals. But Di Maria actually played the fewest amount of games, having only played 4. So for
Mhm.
me, he's really the golden boot winner. So yeah, there we have it. Chelsea world champions, and the talking point or extra talking points from beyond the final whistle was Donald Trump there, being involved in the trophy lift with the Chelsea players. I saw a clip where Reece James, Cole Palmer asked Reece James, like, what's he doing, referring to Trump. And then you can see Reece James turn around and mouth to the guy, are you still going to be here? And
Yep.
Trump pretty much nodded and said, yeah, yes, I am. So they had no choice but to do that trophy lift with Trump as well. Like, this guy, just if anything were to epitomize what the naysayers of the Club World Cup, if anything were to epitomize that, I think this picture captures it perfectly because him being there, it just makes the whole thing look like an absolute joke. Like he's
Oh,
taken away from Chelsea's moment there.
he has, but what a bigger crime than that has to be the it's a Nusrat, the Salt Bay guy on the pitch for Argentina's World Cup. For me, that
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was a big one. But this is kind of along them lines. You've got these celebrities, people not involved in the game, just taken away from what the winners in that finalists have actually gone and done. Speaking of taken away from what the winners have done in the result, did you see what happened between Luis Enrique and João Pedro?
If you ever
Like,
wanted to see,
I don't know what had gone on between the two of them. To I've never seen Enrique react like that. Like some will say sore loser, and yeah, sore loser. Of course, nobody likes losing, but to lose yourself in that moment, to walk right up to João Pedro and put hands. All right, fine. João Pedro, hammed it up a little bit, of course, but to put hands on the guy, it's a bad look for Enrique and PSG, man.
it's a terrible look. It's a horrific look. It's something that shouldn't take place on the football pitch. But I have to say, I did find it funny. Um, I have no idea. Do you have any? I still haven't heard anything as to why he reacted like that. What did João
No,
Pedro said?
I've not heard anything, and to be honest, I don't think it really matters. Even if João Pedro said something like completely below the belt, there's no excuse for violence, and putting hands on somebody while the world is watching, it is, yeah, it's not a great look, and part of me feels like PSG maybe came into this match a little bit complacent. With the impressive results that they've been getting all tournament, all Champions League. One could maybe forgive them for having a little bit of overconfidence, but to be destroyed 3-0 like that is just absolutely embarrassing.
Look, you're saying 3-0. There was some world class saves from Donnarumma that could have made it even more.
Yeah,
Cole Palmer had an effort that just went over the bar just before that. Donnarumma made an
yeah.
amazing save. I can't remember who that was from. It was a battering. I was very surprised when you read out your stats because that's not what I felt like I was watching, or the stats I was watching when I
Mm.
was watching on TV. Yes, Sanchez did make some great saves, but overall, I mean, when a team takes a foot off the pedal as we're coasting towards the finish line, then the other team just gets a few pot
Yeah,
shots, and yeah, that's if anything, that's where I feel those stats came from. Um, and
that's what I
if
was going to say. It kind of feels as if Chelsea took the foot off the gas.
yeah, that's what it's like to me. Just protect what we've got. So come and give us what you got. Um, Now, when you talk about that picture says to me that the Club World Cup matters. Just that frame there, the fury in the PSG players. People tell me that this competition doesn't matter. That picture tells me it does, and that we wanted to win, and we were embarrassed, sore losers, and we have to resort to violence. That's what that says to me.
That's a fair point because if you didn't want to win or you didn't care about the result, you won't really be reacting like that.
No, that's
Yeah.
what that picture
Now,
says.
speaking of the competition mattering, okay, that moves us nicely on to the next subject where we're going to talk about this guy right here, Mr. Gianni Infantino. He is FIFA's president. Okay. Now he has come out and proclaims the Club World Cup as the most successful club competition. I just want to read out a little extract from him. So he says that he believes the Club World Cup is already the most successful club competition in the world, despite some negatives surrounding the tournament. He has said that as a result of the success of the tournament, he said that it has generated more than $2 billion, and that's 1.5 billion Great British pounds in revenue, which he says it's worth roughly £24 million or $33 million. per
Mm.
match. He says, as a result of those figures, he said that he can describe the tournament as a huge success and went on to further add that the golden era of global club football has started. Now, this is in contrast, we must remind ourselves, to what Jurgen Klopp said a few weeks ago, where he described it as the worst idea ever implemented in football. Now, we've just finished speaking about Chelsea, okay? A couple of people from that club actually had something to say about the tournament. The midfielder Enzo Fernandez, the tournament's top assister, he said that the heat while they were playing was very dangerous. And the manager, Enzo Maresca, complained that it was impossible to have a normal training session during the tournament. Um, Nigel, what's your thoughts on what Infantino has said there about it being the most successful club competition? Do you agree, or what's your thoughts?
Do you know when he made? Because I've been a fan of this tournament, and I gave the reasons why in our previous show. But his comments really did infuriate me because it literally all boiled down to money. The reasons why he said it's successful was literally all because of money.
Mm,
Did he even mention the players once? Did he mention the standard of football, the goals that we saw? Did he mention the fans? No, 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 he didn't. So honestly, I'm terribly disappointed in what he said as the head of the game, the leader of the game, so to speak. But his reasons for that being the greatest club competition ever are stupid. It is
yeah,
not the greatest club or successful club competition. It's just not. Um, and yes, it may have been highly profitable in terms of revenue generated, but that's because the Saudis bailed him out. So the question he has to ask himself is: the next in 4 years' time, will more TV stations other than the Zone be bidding for it? Because remember, the Zone gave the games away for free. That's
mm,
not a sustainable business model. So this was propped up by Saudi.
yeah,
So initially, maybe to get the wheels in motion. So, but will they be doing that again 4 years from now? If they say no, what happens to the competition then? So the
mm,
money is irrelevant because honestly, it's false because a state sponsored the competition, and unless they're going to do that forever and ever, then um, it's a mute point. I'm
yeah,
disappointed in decisions in how to generate use the competition as a way to generate even more revenue by using the dynamic ticket pricing, where they were charging fans up to above $400 for a
yeah,
game.
yeah,
That's insane. And that same ticket, so you could have paid 400, David, and I'll be sitting next to you paying only 40. So in terms of attendance and stuff like that, he messed that up. He
yeah.
messed up because of greed. Well, we all know it's not the most successful club competition. We all know today it's not the best club competition, but I do think it's a competition that's coming in our calendar. You just have to find the home
Yeah, I
for it.
mean, if he's talking in terms of revenue only, none of us can argue with what's been said because the numbers in that sense speak for themselves. Generating over $2 billion, absolutely insane. However, when you scratch beneath the surface as you have just done, you see that it was all propped up by the Saudis'
Yeah,
money.
that's it.
Now, some will say, but there's no better people to be propped up by than the Saudis, and I'd have to say, yes, of course. I myself would love my bank balance to be propped up by Saudi investors. But
And
when
we
you
all would
come
too.
out and make statements calling it the most successful club competition, you kind of set yourself up for scrutiny and potential failure because if we're talking the sporting merit of the competition itself, the quality of football on display, it doesn't come close to the Champions League, in my opinion. I don't think it comes close to even the Europa League, maybe. Perhaps beats out the Conference League. Little dig at Chelsea winning that competition there. But however you see this competition and where it stacks, to me, the Champions League for me still reigns supreme. So if you're talking revenues, I'm not one to argue. Okay, it did numbers, especially when before the tournament, people were saying that it was going to make a loss. It was going to be this. It was going to be that. But if we're
Yeah.
talking sporting merit on pitch, it doesn't come close to the Champions League, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree with you. That's why I'm disappointed by what he said. That if you take money out of it, then he had nothing else to say. What
Yeah,
is what we should be grateful for the competition is, and I'd be interested, very interested to hear who are the Fernandez. You said Enzo, right?
Enzo top assist.
Yeah, because essentially the conditions of the tournament will be the same. So I'd like to hear when he's with Argentina if he's going to be voicing and complaining the same way, right? Or if
Mm.
he's just jumping on the bandwagon. And I can't stand people like that.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
I
yeah.
will say, the competition has taught us a lesson in that they said that they will be using covered stadiums, and they
For the
will
World
be,
Cup next year.
yeah, for the World Cup next year. Which, if the World Cup was now, that would not have been something they would have considered.
Mm.
So all the players, everyone globally, should be grateful that this competition took place now, because the lessons that they have learned from this, they'll make sure it doesn't apply when the greatest competition takes place next year.
I mean, I'm grateful for the competition taking place because not only has it distracted from what was going to be a potentially boring summer, now that it's finished, the fantasy football we can start focusing on that again because FPL is due to be releasing prices in the game fairly soon. So I'd like to thank the Club World Cup for bridging that gap. And we're now in the midst of a transfer window. In fact, we got two transfer windows out of it. So I'd like to, thank the Club World Cup for that. In terms of World Cup next year, yeah, it's allowed them to work out some kinks. I think they've spoken about the pricing mechanism that they're going to be taking a
Yep,
look at that. Covered
yep,
stadiums, as you've mentioned, and I think they're going to be taking a look at kickoff times as well. I think that's going to be
yes,
coming
correct,
into play. It's going to
correct.
be interesting. I tell you one thing though. This tournament coming up in or the next one in 4 years' time. I want a little bit more clarity as to how teams are getting picked because I'm hearing things like it's done on previous European pedigree and then it's also taken
Yes,
into account recent
yes,
European success and all this, that, and the other. But then if you're talking about recent European success, certain clubs shouldn't have been in there in the first place, right? But then
go on.
if you're talking well,
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
yeah,
yes.
like wasn't Salzburg in there? RB Salzburg.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
what
And
recent European success have they had? But then if you're talking about like historic is also coming into account, which is why they justify Salzburg coming in. How the hell have Atletico Madrid got in ahead of Barcelona?
yes, yes, yes.
Like in
The,
any metric you want to use, it makes no sense. And they've limited country participants to two teams each. How the hell was Liverpool not in it? Like, can we make this make sense?
wait, Liverpool won the Champions League when?
I believe
2019?
they won the Champions League in 2020, so 5 years ago.
2020 or 2020, 2019?
They
Because
won the COVID
I'll tell you one
championship.
thing. Because when
I
I
think
was looking at
hold on.
Jota's honors, I was surprised they didn't say Champions League, and then I realized that he came the year after Liverpool won it.
Right, so if I
Um,
just quickly pull up, so Liverpool won it in 2019.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
ages
so
ago.
yeah, they won it in 2019. But you can say it's
No, but
ages ago, but,
no, but really, this
but
you have to
right,
have a cut off. No, no,
Nige,
no,
Nige,
really,
Nige.
yeah.
Whatever metric you want to use, okay, whatever metric they've set out, it makes no sense when you have Salzburg in there and Atletico Madrid in there, but you don't have Barcelona, Liverpool,
Did
Manchester
Atletico
United.
Madrid win the Europa League or something in the last few years?
Yeah,
Because you
they,
have to
they
remember one thing. No, but you have to remember one thing. In the European football, what would have distorted it? Real Madrid won it like 4 times in a row, right?
yeah,
so, so there's only so many Champions League winners you could pick from.
I hear
And
that, bro. I hear that, but when you look at the metrics that they were using, it was like it's based on historical, but then it's also based on recent European. Well, if it's based on historical, where's Barcelona? Where's Manchester United? Where's Liverpool? But if it's based on recent, why the hell is Salzburg in there? You said,
I can't argue.
am I being
Anything,
nitpicky or am I,
all
is what
right,
I'm saying making sense?
anything I'm going to say, you're going to keep getting me on the Salzburg, and I don't have an answer for that. So all I
But this
can
is what I'm
say,
saying. But this is what
yes,
I'm
all I can say
saying.
is that
And then they take it further by limiting like country participants to two. But like, nah, if this is a club World Cup championship, let's just have the best teams. I don't care if you end up with there's never going to be four English teams. Let's keep it real. Whether you want to go with recent history or historical success. I just don't understand how you can have Salzburg and Atletico Madrid in there, whatever
No,
metric you
but
use, and you don't
overall,
have
in terms of the
Barcelona in.
team, overall, in terms of the teams that were invited to play, if Messi wasn't at LA Galaxy would have been there. So I understand. So this one was to get the competition up and running, and they were probably the most supportive of the competition, which is why they were allowed to play. Or I have no idea what the reason is, but I can definitely guarantee you that by the time the next one comes, the qualifying metrics will be made very clear, and everybody will be going to be part of that competition. I'm certain.
Well, it remains to be seen. We can only hope that things are more clear and that a better standard of teams are involved. And please get rid of this country limit. Like it just means that certain teams can't get in because we've
No,
reached
but
the
I
limit
think
per
that's a good.
country.
No, I think that look, they've already bowed to pressure in terms of the Champions League, right? And that was a free for all. So no, if you want to get in this competition, win the Champions League. I think that's a great bar to set. For or a European competition. I think that's a great bar to set. And then you play the best, our best, the European best versus the other world's best. I think I like that. I like that. I like
Fair
that.
enough. Either way,
Essentially, second place is for me. Second place is no place, right? Man United want to be in this competition, win the Champions League. End of discussion. And then when you win the Champions League, not only do you get the riches of the Champions League, but you have an opportunity to really go for Saudi money now. Yeah, that's more. That's all the carrot you need.
all right. Well, whichever way you want to cut it, Arsenal, you have 4 years. Make me proud, please. Please make me proud.
Well, you're making the signings to get there, right? I think all the
Yeah.
signings you're making actually is to enter the World Cup. I think that's what you're doing.
Hey, we shall see. But on that note, we're going to
200
end the show
million.
there. Nige, so on that note, we're gonna end the show there. So Nige, thank you for joining me, viewers. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on the next Over the Line show.